Liz and Tuck. And I am hitting, I already hit the live button now.
I see it.
Special thanks right now to our sponsors over at Multilingual Media. I want to do a quick intro for them. And for those of you that are joining on Clubhouse and couldn't see that beautiful logo pop up on screen, we are being hosted today by Multilingual Media. Multilingual Media is the outlet that publishes Multilingual Magazine, publishes Multilingual TV, where we're coming to you live today. This is a weekly program that Liz and I host. We try to get interesting guests, and we have a very interesting guest today. Liz, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce him.
Well, I don't see that he has joined us just yet, which is, he says he just pinged me that he is finishing up a call and will be here shortly. So,
Hey,
here
everybody.
he is.
Oh, no. He has a life?
All right. He's here.
Alexa, turn on the book light.
I will take a minute to introduce our guest because he is a very good friend of mine. I'd like to introduce William Spalding, who is my co-ambassador of the LocUnleashed NYC networking group that we run. He's also on the localization team at Spotify, and he is formerly on the localization team from WeWork. So welcome, William.
Hi, thank you so much. Excited to be here.
Yeah,
welcome
we're
to the
excited.
stage. Sorry, you're getting a round of applause today for coming up on stage.
Love it, love it.
I love it. We're very high tech here. So yeah, it looks like we've got a really good crowd that's joining us today. Thank you everybody for joining our room and tuning in to listen. Sorry about the technical difficulties up front there, but just to introduce ourselves and our space here, as Tucker said, this is LocUnleashed, and it is our weekly discussion of discussing all things localization with kind of how we operate, I think, in general, but basically with no filters and, no boundaries and all that fun stuff. So I'm Liz Dunn Marsi. I am on the enterprise sales team for a company called Translated, which is headquartered in Rome, and unfortunately, most of my coworkers are now going into lockdown. Unfortunately, Rome is back in the red zone, so there's a lot of anxiety. Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety at our Translated headquarters at the moment. So my thoughts are going out to everybody over there.
Indeed, yeah.
I am not in Rome. I am based in Connecticut, outside of New York City, and yeah, very happy to be here and see people joining from all over the world. Really, Tucker, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Tucker. I'm just a guy. I'm just here to sit, be quiet, and look pretty. But I do a bad job of both of those things. So I'm running the technical stuff here. So hey, if you're watching this live, you can participate in the comments. If you're on Clubhouse, if you do have Clubhouse, come participate in person. One of the joys of Clubhouse is this is a group conversation. It's not an interrogation. It's a conversation, right? So don't let Liz and I interrogate poor William up here. Come on up, ask questions. You can start raising your hands at any time. You don't need to wait for us to ask you to raise hands. If you don't have Clubhouse yet, we're live streaming. LinkedIn's probably the most active place. Go leave your comments down. I will bring them up. We'll bring them up right here on screen so that we can see them and respond to them. And without further ado, William, I want to turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you do with localization, globalization, translation, all of the above.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. So yeah, my name is William Spalding. I'm a senior project manager at Spotify on the localization team there. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them. I use both interchangeably. Let's see, my background, I actually got started in this industry working for an interpretation agency. I'm not an interpreter, but got into project management, managing interpreter schedules. One thing led to another, and I fell into the product space and product localization. Worked at We Localize for some time, supported as a contractor Cisco's global translation services team, and bounced to WeWork and I'm at Spotify as well now. That's, I guess, a very fast reel of my trajectory. But historically, I've been very focused in product localization, specifically around UI and testing.
Very nice. Well, welcome, and I think you also do something with Liz. Tell me about that. She hinted at
we
it.
do. She did. We host a monthly networking group, part of the LocUnleashed network, a great community built by Jan Henriks, and lots of different chapters all around the world. It's a very casual, nonchalant networking space with just open discussion for industry folks and anybody adjacent to the language industry or anybody that's interested in it, learning more about it. And yeah, it's a really awesome forum to just network through, get to know folks all around the world in all different fields related to the industry, and a great way to make new friends. So we'll be hosting an event this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you for giving the plug for our event this week. So, and it's all virtual, and that's the interesting, and I think it's the bittersweet side of everything that's happened over the past year. But it's allowed us to all come together once a month, and we call it Loaf Drinks, and everybody brings a cocktail, and we just chat. Drinks.
I will say socially, LocUnleashed and Loaf Drinks, definitely one thing that has held me down socially throughout the entirety of the pandemic.
I love it. I'm so glad to be doing it with you, William.
It's a blast. Yeah.
Very cool.
So we already have a comment in the chat on the LinkedIn feed, and it's Kaloa. He says, "Hi, William. It's been a long time."
Hey, Kaloa. Hope you're doing well.
Speaking of our LocUnleashed community. Well, this is great. So we're very excited to have you here with us. As I explained, it is a very low-key conversation. Yeah. So this is,
it's low key, but let's get into it here, right? Because we do cut it short at the hour. I want to know, what is it like to localize for music? Right, because I've noticed that you said this, like in your profile, you're localizing music for the world. Tell us what's different about what you do, where you're at, and what you've done perhaps in previous lives. PMing for an interpreting company, for example. What makes localizing for music different, challenging, special, hard, fun?
Oh, that's a great question. I think some interesting areas that this audio content brings up is classification of audio and how you classify certain audio categories in different languages across regions, and how those categories translate according to different regions. I think, music specifically, category examples would be genres. So that's an interesting space, and I think it's not unique to music. I think it's unique it's applicable to any type of content that we're localizing. As far as my tagline goes, we're not localizing the actual music itself, like dubbing songs or anything. So yeah, I think it's really.
I assumed that, but I didn't want to make assumptions either, because I thought maybe he's doing something really freaking cool over there that I don't know about. Like,
that would be pretty
localizing
incredible.
Christina Aguilera songs or something like that.
Right. Yeah, we meet with the artists, we teach them a new language and how to sing in that language.
Yeah, perfect.
I think the spaces that it really gets interesting with audio content is really that understanding how we can classify and categorize audio across regions and languages, but then other layers of the audio experience of, people engage with music in all different languages, whether they speak the language or not. So understanding, like, how can we make music more accessible for folks by providing language access in the product.
So what are some of you said localizing categories, and I remember it was 3 years ago, but I attended a fascinating talk in Tokyo, Localization World Tokyo. I see we have some local world peeps. Shout out to Anne-Marie. Shout out to anybody else down in the audience. Over in Tokyo, I saw a presentation by Yuka from Netflix, I'm sorry, Yuka, I don't remember your last name. Otherwise, I'd give you a shout out too, because there's like 6 Yukas there in Tokyo. And it was fascinating talking about how to localize the different categories for Netflix. She talked about, genres that exist in, well, first of all, Japanese is fascinating because, you use different character sets for different ages, but maybe we'll have her on as a guest sometime. Anyways, what I want to be talk about is in other cultures, there are categories, genres that just plain don't exist across cultures. And the example that was used in that Netflix presentation was this slice of life category. That if there's any folks in the audience who can speak to this slice of life, come on up. Keep me honest. But I say that to ask this. Are there any categories that popped out, like in Africa, Asia, Eastern Europe, other cultures that we don't see here in the U.S.? You're like,
It's hard
no.
for me to think of like regional genres, particularly from regions I'm not like native to. But I think like Greeks and techno genre is like a good example where it's pretty. I mean, it probably aligns with folk music and maybe indie, alternative, but it's very unique to Greece and very very reflective of that musical culture there. So I think like that's a decent example where I don't know of like an American variant other than maybe folk music where that would fit into. But I think you bring up a good point about Netflix. Like, yeah, I don't think this is a unique challenge to localizing music per se, as much as it's a unique challenge to localizing multimedia content that is categorized and comes from different regions, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Marina,
I see that Marina came up.
Oh, hey, Marina.
Hey there. This is your stage, William. Welcome. It's so great to see you, Liz and Tucker. Thanks for giving the platform to the awesomeness we have as our friend, William.
Yay.
And I just wanted to speak quickly to Slice of Life is actually Day in the Life, and we had a part of the Localization Explained free sharing of information, and we had from Netflix, Zach Hitkin.
That's right.
I'm in the process of slicing up that monsterly big video file and putting it on YouTube. But anyway, and that was just, free flow of, hey, what do you do in your day-to-day? So I would love, if you would be so kind, Liz and Tucker, to ask William, what's your day like? Are you sitting there and going through the files and matching them up and, and also global music is going to be so awesome. Tucker, I'll talk to you about that later today.
Oh, yeah, I think we have a meeting about that.
I snagged your time, because think about it, guys. Mongolian throat singers, Russian Orthodox, Baltic monophonic singing.
Marina's got the regional genres.
Well,
I love it.
I have a hard time because when I'm searching for Ghanaian music, I want to listen to Ghanaian music. More specifically, I want a happy wife in my life, so I want my wife, because my wife's Ghanaian. So sometimes I'll wake up early and I'll turn on Ghanaian music. It's surprisingly difficult to find for a country, a market, if you want to call it a market, a place, a culture with such a deep culture. There's not a whole lot on Spotify. No, I don't want to say Spotify because I don't use Spotify. Sorry. But there's not.
God.
But I'm going to say something bad, so it's good that I don't use Spotify. There's not a whole lot on Amazon Music. Right? There's like one or two artists. And why is that? Why is there a barrier to multicultural international audience artists around the world? Is there a barrier to getting them up into the platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think that barrier is what we're all here for, and that's language access.
True.
All these big streaming services are Western companies that started in English. So you're just not going to have the level of exposure, discoverability, and access in these smaller international countries that these companies don't originate in the same way you would for their native, country of origin. But then I think, you might find a local streaming service that has a wealth of content available in that country. And so I think that's the conversation, is how do we break down those language barriers and make all of that content really accessible, and not just for music, but for any form of multimedia. And I think Netflix is doing a really good job, particularly dubbing and merchandising and promoting international film and cinema to users across the world. I'm getting way more personalized sharings of international content on my Netflix dashboard than I used to. And I think that's just an example of those barriers being broken down a bit.
Yeah, open it up to more and more niche markets, right?
Right.
And one thing that's been fascinating to me, William, is, and this has nothing. This is just like all social media, all online cloud-based communities, all communities, I would say, is that this nicheifying of communities, right? And Clubhouse is a great example, right? We don't just see rooms about politics. We have rooms about local politics. We don't just Clubhouse is perhaps a bad example, but more and more as access opens up to more and more niche markets, we're getting more and more niche content. And for an American like myself, who just grew up watching American stuff, listening to American accents, it's really excuse the pun, it's a foreign concept to me that we have access. And nowadays, I really try, when I play music, because we play music every day in this house, I try to change genres, and I really try to find genres that I haven't heard before. And that's why I was kind of asking you if there's anything out there that the people listening perhaps should be aware of, they should go listen to today.
Oh, I mean, yes, there is.
Yes, there is. All right. Give it to
I don't know, like, what I would specifically recommend. I think it really depends on just everybody's personal taste. But yeah, I mean, I encourage folks to just try new genres and look at what others are listening to and give those artists a listen, and just go down rabbit holes and discover things and find what you like. I do it all the time. I listen to a lot of like estranged electronic music from around the world that falls into weird genres like noir ambient, for example.
Oh, I do too, William.
Yeah, or like deconstructed techno. Like, I don't know. There's all these like very obscure.
It's like there's like a genre that's literally just called like bleeps and glitches or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all about that. This is good work music.
Yeah, like my top genre, at least as Spotify classifies it, is like dark wave, which I didn't realize was a genre per se.
I love it.
So yeah, I think like there's thousands of different ways to ascribe a classification to audio. I would say just go dive in and see what sticks in your head and what feels good when you're listening to it.
Yeah, and William, you are a musician as well, so I think that makes it was extremely exciting when you took this job at Spotify, because it seems to sort of pull all of your interests together, right?
Yeah, totally. Thank you. Yeah, when I was in high school, I was a hip hop artist performing with I performed with an artist Experience, who was from my hometown. He's like one of Macklemore's top co-writers.
Oh, no kidding.
So I've been involved in music scenes for a long time. I stopped rapping years ago and picked up DJing and party promoting. So for years I threw monthly raves and dance parties for my local queer community. And then I DJ like techno events pretty regularly.
Why are we not having you DJ live right now? Like, hook those tables up to an iRig. That's what I'm going to be talking about, Marina. Marina pinged me, and she said, like, hey, Tucker, I see that you're doing all this live streaming stuff. You're running blah, blah, blah. And what is it that you wanted to do? Like, you wanted to play your accordion, right, Marina? At the risk of turning this into a conversation about accordion.
No. I used to play in a pop synth band in the 80s, and then in the 90s, all female rock band. But I used to have long blonde hair, but that's another life. I won't talk about it now.
Oh,
you and I will talk about it later today, Marina, for sure.
You and I. Well, because the world music, you guys, when I was doing LocUnleashed, the Christmas party and the birthday party, all I did, you guys, Google a country on YouTube. You will be surprised. The ancient sounds, many areas in Europe have a tradition that we have no idea of. And, the experimental thing, William, you remember the day I was sending you all these links. Oh my God,
Yeah.
there's an Estonian female techno band. Killing me, man.
Marina and William both. Do you know the VP of consulting over at Nimsy Insights? Her name is Inga Bonin.
Is she on here right now?
I don't know if she's on here because she runs, she moderates, manages, whatever, facilitates, I want to say, but I think it's open. Anybody can make suggestions. She manages an open Spotify playlist for the localization industry.
Sure.
And
awesome.
Sure.
yeah, let me see
I
if
would
I
love
can.
to see that.
Let me pull it up. You guys keep the convo going, and I'm going to pull it up to see if I can get you information on that.
Yeah, please
cool.
So, and
make me a
one
moderator,
thing,
Liz, so I can help you bring people up. Please.
Oh, I did not.
Por favor.
One thing, you guys, what's so important about music is building relationships. And I really think music, food, culture, in addition to language, is what brings us together and can heal past, grievances.
Well said.
And I'm telling you, the other day I was listening on Clubhouse, and there was this man who was a Sufi singer.
Ooh, cool.
I thought it was Farsi, but I think it was just maybe an older form of Arabic. It was just raising the hairs on the back of my head. I was almost crying. The tonality, the scales of music in those areas of the world are so amazing. So everybody Google these genres and listen to this stuff.
Yeah, you make
Indeed.
a good suggestion there of just looking up a country and just diving in through keyword searches on what music's coming out of that area. It's a really great suggestion to discover new stuff.
Awesome. I'm still looking for it, but let's do a quick reset of the room here because this is Clubhouse, which means we need to reset the room every 10 to 15 minutes. Otherwise, we are horrible moderators. So resetting the room, just let all of the newcomers joining what we're talking about. My name is Tucker Johnson, and I'm joined by my co-host Liz, Dunn, Marsi. We host this room once a week on Mondays, and we try to get people, interesting people to talk to who are either working in or interested in localization, globalization, internationalization, translation, basically any of those gears that drive the machine of international growth for major brands. Today we have William Spalding from Spotify who's talking to us. Well, so far we've been talking a lot about culture. We've been talking a lot about music. Let's talk a little bit about work at some point.
Yeah.
I don't want to drive the conversation too much. I want to ask, is there anybody down in the audience who'd like to come on up? Raise your hand. We will let you up on stage. This is inclusive. This is a conversation. We're not gatekeepers here. And I see, someone's joining as a listener. And we are recording this live. So with that, yay, we have.
I just brought Michael up to
Awesome.
the stage.
Awesome.
Hey,
Come on.
I
Michael.
just was getting too excited about all the music Spotify band talk, so I figured I had to chime in. In another life, I did vocals for a band and a alt rock band in Chicago. So I love this conversation. Love Spotify.
Do you have any of that music posted anywhere?
Maybe you PM me.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I want to hear.
And your guys' LocUnleashed, the New York LocUnleashed is fantastic. I love joining it when you guys do it too. So
thank you. We hope you can come this week.
Of course, yes, I will be there. But I love anything dark wave disco. There sounds awesome, William. So
all right, I'll send you something.
Awesome. I'll shut up now.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
awesome.
Michael.
And I see Catherine has joined us as well. Hey, Catherine.
Hey,
Catherine.
Liz. Hey, Tucker. Hi, William.
Hey.
Hi, Marina. Hi, Michael. Yeah, I actually I know exactly the playlist you're talking about. I just looked it up. It's just search for Nimsy on Spotify and it'll come up. It's called
Gotta
Nimsy's
love that
playlist.
branding. Gotta love that branding. I cannot argue with that. I should be wearing my Nimsy hat.
And I was going to say,
There
yeah,
we go.
meanwhile, Tucker can't find it, and he's the founder of Nimsy.
Yeah, no, it's great. And yeah, William, this is a great topic. I mean, I'm actually I connected with one of your colleagues about being on my podcast at some point. So, but I'd love to have you too. So yeah, so that's
Amazing.
definitely a topic that I would love to cover on the Worldly Marketer podcast. Just what is Spotify doing to grow into new international markets. And I have to say, like, it's still my favorite platform for discovering new music. I mean,
awesome.
Mine
could
too.
be.
Mine too.
I never use Apple Music for some reason. I'm just not interested in subscribing. Like, I'm on an iPhone, obviously, but Apple Music is to me not nearly as multifaceted and interesting and user friendly too, to be honest, as Spotify.
Right.
So keep up the great work.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, I will admit I was always an Apple Music user until I started interviewing for Spotify, and have not once looked back. And not just because I work there. I think just the product experience is a lot better. I've discovered way more music, and I always had to resort to other platforms than Apple Music, like SoundCloud or just digging through YouTube videos and playlists to be able to find that. So yeah, I agree, and thank you for that comment. Also about the podcast, let's definitely have that conversation. I think you know, I would love to just give me some heads up, and we can see about clearing the topic. Unfortunately, in this conversation, I can't talk about as much as what Spotify is actually doing.
All right.
But would love to explore that further with folks.
Yeah, I think I connected with your colleague Martinho.
How big is your TMS?
Oh yeah, that's my lead.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martinho is excellent, and he would honestly be the best person for you to have on that.
Yeah, he actually wants to be on the podcast. It's just, I guess he's in a very busy patch right now. So we're gonna make it happen.
I was just gonna say, William, I know we can talk about, you know, what is publicly available in terms of Spotify information, and can you just tell everybody how many languages you guys launched in one day, basically?
Yeah. So, Catherine, some insight to Martinho's busyness. Yeah, last week we launched 36 languages at once, which don't quote me on this, but I think it might be the largest language launch in the history of the industry. If anybody can find out evidence on the contrary, please let me know. But yeah, things have been super busy for us because of that, but very exciting, and so far it has gone well. So yeah.
What was the I'm just curious, what was the, I guess, biggest challenge that came in launching that many languages at the same time? Aside from, I imagine, a million scheduling details.
Yeah, that was challenging. I think you know, it's really just being remote, trying to work cross functions collaboratively in a remote setting. Particularly, you know, myself, who onboarded remote, I've never met many of my teammates. I think just that kind of challenge that we're all facing due to the pandemic and the realities of today's working environment were definitely felt through the course of that project. But I will also say, you know, we were able to do it entirely remote. So I think despite the challenge, you know, it made it a little bit more triumphant as well. That we're proud that we were able to execute, you know, something at that scale entirely virtual and did remotely.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, to do that whole thing virtual, but also during a global pandemic when people on, you know, all sides of every industry are affected. That you guys were able to, like you said, come out triumphant. I think that's been a really exciting thing that has come up in the news. Has been, you know, witnessing what you guys have done there at Spotify. So
yeah, thank you. We also
nicely done.
Entered over 80 markets in that same vein as well. Historically, it was always one language, one market at a time, and I guess we also did that on top of entering Korea in February.
Right.
And what are the advantages of that? I mean, if you've done historically one market at a time, and then you've done, you know, sim shipping into multiple languages, pros and cons, like preference.
I think pros is just scale, being able to do it and wipe your hands clean of it and have it done and the structure in place. Cons is a lot bigger business case to build, a lot more moving parts to manage. But I mean, I'm personally a fan of doing things at scale. If I can do 5 things at once rather than, one thing 5 times,
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah, no, I know, especially like on the vendor side where I spent a big chunk of my career. I'd much rather sell you 5 more languages than 5 more projects, right? Because it's just that's where you get the scalability, that's where you get the repeatability, and that's where you get like all of the cool stuff that makes a localization program. You get right there. Right.
Yeah.
You don't get it from just because translating a blog into Spanish one time is that's not localization. I mean, that's not a localization program. That's localization, right? But that's not. You don't need a program for that. And I like to geek out like on all the cool stuff that 2 + 2 = 5 kind of thing. But we've got. I just see Anne Marie's been up here on stage for a while here.
Good song, by the way.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is
Hi, Anne Marie.
Hola.
So nice to be here with you guys again. And William, I'm honored to meet you here on Clubhouse. I'm a business consultant based in Sweden, the home country of Spotify, in case any of the listeners aren't aware of that. And I'm just simply in love with the concept of Spotify. I was an early adopter as here on Clubhouse as well. And I just think that you are doing an amazing job. And I have had the pleasure of meeting several of your colleagues in Stockholm. And I read about the launch and I was super impressed. Have you had any specific hurdle on that journey? I suppose many, but what if there's one that stands out? What would that be?
Yeah, I think it's still what I mentioned earlier of just having to manage such a large cross-functional effort in a remote setting during the time of the pandemic. Definitely introduces some unique challenges that I don't think many organizations in general had experienced prior to 2020.
And I also wanted to say, because you were talking about working from home, the pandemic, the challenges of that, and I just discovered today, thanks to another localization industry friend of ours, Gaetan, he shared on LinkedIn what the Swedish band Familjen, the family, translated into English, has just published office sounds that you can adjust yourself. It's on Spotify. And listening to sound of colleagues. If you miss your colleagues and the sound,
like
so they have
printers and fax machines.
You're kidding.
Yeah, they have tunes that says, rainy day inside a calm office, skyscraper office with open window. This one I love.
Called Karen from accounting yelling at her husband on the phone.
Yeah, this one, Tuck, is I think for you. Early morning, desk neighbor eating breakfast.
This is awesome.
That's
I didn't
hilarious.
realize that content was there.
A piece of advice: search for "Sound of Colleagues," Red Pipe Studios Familjen on Spotify, and tune in if you miss your colleagues when you're sitting at home working.
That is
oh my goodness!
amazing.
I'm gonna share this with my team. This is awesome. Thank you.
Red Pipe Studios. For those of you that didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's the playlist name is Sound of Colleagues.
Okay, we'll have to share that after online. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Anne Marie.
Those were my 2 cents. Lovely conversation. Have a good
day.
Thank you so much.
Perfect. You know who else has joined us is everyone's favorite, Javi.
Javi, what's up, my friend?
Hola. That applause.
That was for Anne Marie. Don't let it go to your head.
Yeah.
No.
We'll applaud you when you leave, sir. Say your piece.
Oh. Yeah, I can't wait for that second applause. Yeah, please. No, listen, Will. Like, I am so
Javi,
happy.
you're terrible.
Sorry?
You're terrible, Javi.
I am terrible. By the way, I gotta call you later, Anne-Marie. Okay, I'll call you later.
Looking forward to it.
So, Will, brother, I'm so happy for your achievements. Like, you've been a public figure in the industry for a year. Like, remember the first time we talked? It's about a year ago.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now look how I mean how everybody knows you, how you're doing well. I'm so happy to be your friend. I'm so proud of your achievements, man. Like really.
Well, thank you. I
And
appreciate it. Thanks for all your
no,
support
really,
along
big
the
time,
way.
bro. And you know that one of the things that I'm doing is focusing a lot in building community, spreading good values, sharing love. You know me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you are an amazing community builder in the LGBTQ plus community.
Yes.
How are you coordinating that with your job in Spotify? Because both are, I mean, what you're doing is to me is like super modern, super open-minded. I love it so much. You know, I follow you, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere. We talk almost every week, right? But I want to ask you, like, to advance. I mean, for me, you're a very advanced, open-minded person, and Spotify as well. You know, Martin is one of my best friends as well, right? And I know how he is. So, how do you combine both things? Community building, Spotify, all of these.
That's a good question. You know, I don't know if I do it very intentionally. I think I just go through my day and whatever comes out comes out. But I think like being queer myself and gender nonconforming, I have a lot of opinions and I'm adjacent to a lot of experiences that I can help, you know, amplify. So I just try to be mindful of that and do that through my day to day. And just, you know, own who I am and what I'm doing and you know, show love to the network around me.
Nice.
I don't know if that answers your question so much. If you're looking like more specifically how I'm organizing in the queer community, you know, I'll say a lot less than I used to be.
Yeah,
as well.
I'd be
I think
interested, William, in knowing, is there and forgive my ignorance on terminology related things, right? But is there a queer LGBTQ whatever community in the localization industry? And like, is there a group, is there a support, is there a something, are there resources for people in the localization, globalization, internationalization industry that you can plug, that you can recommend? Maybe there's someone listening today that wants to be part of something bigger than themselves.
Good question. You know, I actually am not aware of any special interest groups, particularly for the LGBTQ community in the industry, but I know Women in Localization is definitely a group to call out in terms of just equity and equality and good work in the industry as it relates to, you know,
Indeed. Yep.
Gender challenges and such.
Where am I with my applause?
I think there's a lot of work being done within that group as well, discussing things like gender neutral language and translation and different relevant topics. But yeah, as far as a special interest group specifically for queer people, I'm not sure that one exists. I would be very interested and happily collaborative to get one started if anybody wants to work with me on that.
Do you remember when we did this Live session back in September?
Did, yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I will say the community exists, but there's just not a special interest group. I think.
No, and Patrick Nunes, he joined last week in the last deep session that we organized, right?
Yeah.
And he also asked, you saw it, that's probably right. And
I saw it, and we had him as a guest on our on this chat as well a couple of weeks ago.
Is he here?
I don't think he's here right now,
No.
but he is on Clubhouse. I actually sent him the invite, and he has wonderful things to say.
Yeah,
the Rock Nunes, Patrick the Rock Nunes. Yeah. So we chat the other day. He put on a very interesting point about one of the topics we were discussing in female leadership panel was if there's initiatives for, other than women in localization to do this. And he asked a question coming from the LGBTQ plus community, right? About integration, etc. Right? So it was very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And guys, we're starting a new channel this Wednesday here for you guys about millennial problems. So you gotta join as well, okay?
I'm a millennial.
Okay, yeah.
As our multilingual TV show.
If I ever have any problems, which I don't ever, I will come listen to your program, Javi. When I stop being perfect, I will come listen to you. But yeah,
I'll say my problems
for Javi.
are too much avocado toast.
Yeah.
I'm not focused enough. I want handouts and what's the other one?
The millennial.
First world problems. White
The millennial,
problems.
millennial problems. My God, millennial problems.
Millennial problems.
Yeah,
I like that better. Yeah.
I think the number one's like millennials can't afford rent because they eat too many avocados. That's like the top
Oh my God.
It's hard. It's hard. My toilet paper budget's through the. Anyways. Yeah, Malhablados is on multilingual television. If you guys are not familiar with multilingual television, well, you're familiar with multilingual television because we're streaming live on multilingual television right now. Multilingual television, go subscribe on YouTube. Go subscribe on LinkedIn. Follow Multilingual Media, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of that stuff. If you're here on the Clubhouse app, make sure to follow all the moderators up here. Well, follow everybody in this room. This is what I tell people. I don't say follow the moderators. I say follow everybody because we're in this together as an industry.
Exactly.
And before I leave you guys, just a peek about next session. We're inviting an extrovert, an introvert, plus me moderating, and we're gonna set up like a very interactive conversation there. Okay. Let's see if we can stream it also on Clubhouse. I'm gonna talk to the team there if we can make it on Clubhouse as well.
Interesting. Well, keep us posted on that, Javi.
All right. So
don't talk to the team
because everybody here.
They don't know how to do it yet, which means they're gonna have to ask me. And
I'm
lazy, so don't ask my team.
Get the whip.
All right. So
ciao,
thank you, Javi.
Okay, bye. Ciao.
Good to see you, Javi.
All right, let's do a quick reset the room here. Liz, you want to take a turn at this?
Sure, absolutely. I love resetting the room. So it looks like we've got about 15 minutes left. You are here with us on LocUnleashed. It's a weekly Clubhouse chat that we live stream on Multilingual Media. We are discussing all things localization with a special guest today, who is William Spalding from Spotify. And it looks like we have someone else who has joined us on stage. Hi, Momen.
Hello, Liz. I'm Momen. I'm working as a project resource manager at Pactera. It's nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you as well.
Nice to meet you.
So I had one question, William. It's mainly related to your day-to-day operations. What constitutes a rush time at Spotify?
Good question.
Weekdays or weekends?
Friday at 8 p.m. I don't think I have there's no specific answer. I think it just depends on the situation at hand and the business case that we're dealing with and what's needed,
Mm-hmm.
And also like what's possible. What time of the day is it? Are linguists even awake for the languages that are needed? I think all of that comes into account, and we settle with what we can do best at.
Yeah.
That's
good question. That's a really good question, though.
Yeah, because sometimes during our work it gets crazy till we drop dead. So I was wondering if you have a similar situation at Spotify, or you're just assigning to the LSPs and you just wait for their deliverables.
Yeah, I can't speak on any of our actual production processes, but I'll say like it really just depends on the business case and what we need. I think if there's something that's needed right away for an emergency situation, we figure out how to make that happen. But I think it's again like weighing what the specific situation is and the need for the rush work. And
so it doesn't have to do anything with holidays or maybe before Christmas.
I mean, it might if the holidays are, I think when we have this conversation, we have to understand like any piece of content has a specific purpose. So it depends on what the use case of that content is. If it's for a holiday and we need to get it out before that holiday, then I think, the case will justify whether or not we rush work.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's good talking to you, William, today. And I would like to stress on Javier's point. We're hosting the live show for the localization millennials, and we are discussing their problems, their careers, and how they are developing and evolving in the industry. So feel free to join us. him and I will announce the date.
Where is it going to
we would
be?
like for you to join.
How do we find this?
We do it here. Yeah, we're gonna do it here on the Clubhouse, and it's scheduled for Wednesday. But
we're deciding on the time.
The millennial way, on the fly.
The millennial way. Okay, so Javi, I thought we kicked you off screen. I didn't hear your voice, but since you're still here, I will say that is why I have been doing like live pop-up sessions. Not because I'm cool, but because I'm too unorganized to actually put something on the calendar and hold myself accountable and go live when I say I'm going to go live. So, hey, I am all about the millennial way.
I'm all about doing it improvisationally if time boxing yourself is going to result in not executing it. Right. As long as you're executing it.
As long as you're executing it. Like today, we got started 2 or 3 minutes late on the live stream. Why? Because I forgot to fill in the social media things. That's okay. Right. And, I see this coming into our industry, too. This whole concept of accountability. No, I don't want to say accountability. I want to say authenticity. Authenticity, I think, is the new currency.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
that's very much has come over this past year, I would say, too. Not to interrupt, but
forced authenticity. Right. Because and I talk a lot about this. Like we're literally inviting people into our homes. We're we have we're talking about the Spotify playlist, the NIMSY Spotify playlist earlier. Not to keep tooting Inga's horn, Inga Bonin, but she also manages a multicultural book club. Right.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to put yourself forward in the most authentic way possible. And there are so many different ways to do so in a way where you will find a community that meshes with your vibe rather than trying to change your vibe to fit in with the community, which is what we did back when I was growing up. Right. And just it parallels the way, as you were talking earlier, William, it parallels the way that we discover new music. Remember, well, I don't know how old anyone is, but I remember when I was a teenager, discovering new bands, discovering new music, that looked very different than the way kids do it these days.
Yeah.
Extremely different.
There were road trips to Best Buy involved.
Yeah, we were making mixtapes and giving them to people.
I remember scouring radio shows for their seasonal releases, digging through LimeWire, hoping I don't get a virus.
I remember sitting by my stereo.
Radio stations.
Yeah.
Early days.
Don't forget the bootlegs. Don't forget the bootlegs
All the
that you were going to buy in illegal CD shops.
Oh, I still don't forget the bootlegs. I still hunt those down.
Dude, bootleg tapes. I would sit by my stereo with the radio playing with my finger on the record button because I was waiting for them. I was trying to get a free Garth Brooks record, so I was waiting for them to play Garth Brooks songs. And every time they played Garth Brooks songs, I had to go press the button.
And did you call the DJ to request songs? I would call the DJ and get all excited if I was on air.
No, because I'm an introvert.
I did that. I did that a few times,
Yeah. So speaking of music, I wanted to I brought Dario up to the stage. Hey Dario.
Hey guys. No, I don't. I definitely don't deserve that. How are you guys?
First of all, when's St. Patrick's Day?
That's why I brought him up. When is St. Patrick's Day? A resident Italian living in Ireland.
Sorry, what was the question again?
It was a really dumb question that we all have. When is St. Patrick's Day?
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, yeah, but it's going to be a very unusual one. So everything is, they're using basically the green lights all over the monuments here, but no one's allowed to go out. So
man.
we're gonna watch the lights from our windows.
Yay.
But this is a very, very cool conversation. I really, really enjoying it, and I just wanted to add a little piece to what you guys were saying, like how more accessible it is now and how easier it is to find new music right now. But I think Spotify and all these newer streaming platforms for music are doing a lot of good for smaller bands, coming out of the garage, coming out of the rehearsal room, get heard or at least get a chance. And this is what we got completely wrong 20 years ago when we were about to make it. But then we thought, no, we're going the old way. We're looking for a label, we're looking for a distribution, we're looking for a tour agency, and we lost our chance. Like I was touring with a band called Thy Majesty for a while, about 3 years. We did 3 European tours. We did a live DVD in the Netherlands. It was cool. Like right before starting my adventure in localization in 2009, I was coming from touring and singing in a band, and we got we thought we figured it out, and we got everything wrong. So the power of streaming, the power of this platforms, it wasn't there yet. We were using MySpace, but kudos to you guys, because literally, like, there's a lot of very, very cool bands that never get to see the light because they don't have the right means to just get heard. And you guys are doing an amazing job at that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's definitely a goal. Is how do we make a, I don't know, how do new artists get discovered, and how do we discover new music as listeners? I think there's two sides to the coin. The discovery of new music as a listener, but then also the distribution of your music as a creator. And I think that's the same challenge that we're dealing with in any form of content that's being created or any form of art that's being produced, is how do we get our art seen and consumed and appreciated and heard. Yeah, thank you for that comment, Dario.
Oh, that's super cool. I wish I could go back in time, but now I'm old and miserable and my beard is white, so I'm not gonna go back into power metal anytime soon, all right? But
come on, Dario. Johnny Cash never said that.
Well, I'm sure he didn't. But I'm saying it, like, if I thought about trying again, but that never really happened. But that's like,
what do you play, Dario?
Bands.
I'm sorry.
I sing, so I mainly sang in bands since I was 16, but I was more into the punk rock and melodic hardcore scene back in the day. And then when I was recording my second album with this hardcore band, the singer of Thy Majesty left, and they had a tour planned, so they asked me to just fill in for that one tour, and that lasted 3.5 years in the end. So that's what I was doing back in the day. I play guitar, bass, and drums. I got my drum set here at home, and to be completely honest, what I do now, I play the ukulele and I play a lot of nursery rhymes for the kids. That's what I do. So that's where I went. I went from playing power metal
to ukulele.
To Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Yeah.
There's more. Dario, I promise you, there will be more.
That's cute.
So I was just trying.
I hope so.
I saw that, Tucker.
Really hoping that they will pick up something musical. That's one of the reasons we listen to a lot of Spotify, a lot of music. Well, we listen to Amazon Music. But.
I was just going to say, my kids have been taking piano lessons for the past couple of years. And even, during the pandemic, we've managed to somehow keep it going. And it's really fun to watch them kind of learn and get into it. Oh,
yeah,
look at that
we have Esther up here. Why don't you?
Hi.
How are you? You got a question? You got a comment? You got something for us?
I got a question, and this is my very first time speaking up in Clubhouse. So
you're just begging for that. You just want that, don't you?
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
So thanks. So I'm new to the industry as well. I started a nonprofit with the goal of translating more English industry work for the chocolate industry for Spanish speakers. And running into some technological hiccups. And I was wondering if on Spotify, if they're translating podcasts.
I don't think we aren't taking anybody's like intellectual property and changing it. I think there are some podcasts being created in different languages, but the language of origin currently is what you'll find in the product. So depends on what the creator is doing as far as the language they're speaking in and creating their shows in.
Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to see if there was any other examples out there. So yeah, it's definitely a complicated problem.
Yeah, I think like when we're looking at like oral content, I think it's the same as any like show. You could do dubbing or like voiceovers potentially. I think that can get tricky. There's also transcribing maybe the transcript that's available. I think there's different ways you could think about it depending on what experience you're trying to create.
Yeah, definitely. We've been able to tackle the transcription and the audio, but the intonation in the voices is lacking. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that can be really challenging, is like finding the right voice actors for voiceover to really make it sound natural and just intentional.
Yes. Oh, we're using machine learning technology. So
are you using ML for the voiceover itself?
That's what we're using. Yeah.
Yeah. Esther, we should connect offline because we're doing something similar at Translated. Yeah, we're in beta testing.
Liz can help you with that.
Yeah. We're beta testing a new machine learning powered dubbing and subbing tool.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to. You can reach me at United by Chocolate.
Whoa. This is a live recording.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
So we're not, I'm going to help you out here. All right.
Thank
Let's
you.
not share that contact information.
Perfect.
I'll find you. Not to
I'm
worry.
easy
I'll
to
find you
find.
on LinkedIn.
That's a threat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Not a promise, or promise, not a threat. All right.
I will find you.
Yeah. And it is the top of the hour. Holy moly. Why does time move so quickly on these things? Yay. Probably because I'm bouncing around trying to fix the technical stuff half the time. William, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Tucker.
Closing remarks.
Thank you, Liz. I just want to thank you both for having me. This was a great show, and I look forward to seeing what y'all do next. Also, join us Thursday for Local Lunch New York City.
All right, here's the plug. Local Lunch New York City, Thursday. If you're watching this live, make sure to like, subscribe. Extra credit, tag a colleague, tag someone in the comments who you think might get value out of these conversations, because these are on Clubhouse, and if you are not following Multilingual Media, then you probably won't be notified when we go live. So if you want to be notified when we go live, make sure to like and subscribe. A big thank you to William Spalding. Big thank you to Catherine, Marina, Javi, Momin, Dario, Esther, everybody who came up today. Thank you for Translated for letting me borrow one of their star business development directors, Liz, Dunn, Marsi. And with that, I'm out of done with people to thank. Did I forget anything?
Yeah. How about I say thank you, Tucker, for being my lovely co-host and doing all the streaming and all the tech stuff. You rule. Thank you.
What? I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Have a good day.